Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing well. Chad McDaniel with Execs in the Know. What a year 2024 has been. And lo and behold, we're towards the end of it, but I'm sure there's still a few more milestones we're all going to get in before we say completely to the year end. Hey, thank you so much for your time and attention in the conversation we're getting ready to have. I am so thrilled to introduce a couple of special guests to the community here shortly. But before doing so, I've got a couple of quick slides I want to go through. Again, happy holidays to everybody. I hope you're well. Can't wait to see everyone in the new year as we kick off 2025. But today, saved one of our best conversations for the end of the year. And really, it's transforming the digital sales experience. And this is going to be applicable to not just sales, it can be non-sales, so work with me on that. But we have a fantastic case study how ALG is driving success in its e-commerce website. So, Lucia, before I introduce you, I mean, this is tis the season, time of year. So, getting you during the holidays to come talk on a webinar during a heavy sales time, Christmas season, thank you so much. And we have a lot of fans of your brand. But let me go quickly through a couple of slides here. Today, I want to make this an interactive conversation. We learn together, we grow together as a community. So as we're going through concepts, please put your comments in the audience chat box. That would be great. I may throw a couple of questions out to the audience, help answer my questions. Of course, at the end, we'll do some roundup here. Our time will go fast, but I will make sure we do our best to get all of your questions answered. If this is your first time to Execs and Know, or you're an Execs and Know jockey, you know us very well. For the past 15 years, Execs and Know has been a very large corporate end-user CX sharing community we call Leaders Learning from Leaders. Really a playbook for us as CX leaders to navigate ever-changing waters, both in our consumer employee side and many other areas, but really to help in our success through the content research, topic-based meetings like today. Just go to our website, execsandknow.com. Go to the Knowledge Center. There's some amazing reports, white papers. I could go through a number of things, but just go to execsandknow.com, go to our Events tab or Knowledge Center, and love to fill you in more there. I just want to say thank you to our advisory board. Fantastic leadership group. They really help mentor the conversations we have throughout the year. I think this year alone, I probably did over 100 unique talk tracks. So thank you so much to the corporate advisory board, really elevating the success of our industry. I could not be more grateful. Hey, I'm thrilled. And Lucia, Michael, I'd love to get you guys out. Our in-person event, we're going to be, we do this only twice a year, the Customer Response Summit. We've been doing these for 15 years, so some of you know the cadence. It's going to be down in Clearwater Beach, just outside the Tampa area, March 3rd to the 5th. Please mark your calendars. We have some very exciting announcements of speakers and other activities that are going to be taking place. And then the final piece I'll call out is just, if you haven't already, join the online community called Know It All Kia. It is our LinkedIn on steroids. We have over 1,200 members with unique profiles. It's 100% corporate end user only, and the conversations that are going on are very rich and insightful. So if nothing else, just join, listen into the conversations, and of course, be in the know. All right, enough about Execs in the Know. Michael, Lucia, thank you so much. Michael, let's start with you. I think you're based in Florida, but for the audience that may not be familiar with you, you've got a big role and a responsibility, so getting your time is so appreciative. Michael, tell us a bit about the role, and of course, those that may not know VXI, tell us a bit about the company.
Sure, thanks for having me. So, Michael Aronowitz, SVP of Revenue Growth at VXI. My role is to help our clients grow revenue. I've been in the industry way too long, been around a while. I went back and looked at some things, and over the last 6 years, I've been a part of 75 successful sales program launches with different clients. And this one we're going to talk about today is one of the most interesting and successful ones that I've seen. So looking forward to talking about it. My past is basically sales, performance-based marketing, whether that's on the front end or the back end. So like I said, been around a while, and I help companies grow revenue. Thanks for having me.
Well, appreciate your insights and expertise. And Lucia, when I started in this industry in the late 80s, I had as much hair as you do. Now you can see what happened. But Lucia, LG, great brand. You probably have a lot of customers in the CX space that have your products and services, or the products for sure. Lucia, quickly introduce yourself and the role in the company.
Sure. And first of all, Chad, I just want to say thank you so much for having us and facilitating this conversation. It's really good to be able to share all the work that we've done starting at the beginning of April this year. So thank you for giving us this opportunity. So my name is Lucia Albero. I'm the brand manager for digital customer experience here at LG. So my role and responsibility is really looking at our different digital customer touch points like social media, both public and private channels, our reviews, and now our chat for sales program, and figuring out how we can create synergies across brand voice, technology, people, process, and culture. So really making sure that we have a unified tone, unified goals and objectives, and we're really able to meet the customer in the same way across all these different touch points.
Well, awesome. And Michael, I'm going to have you take control on the slide deck. And Lucia, I'm just going to say quickly, I've had the pleasure of meeting you in person. And for the community members, you're really missing out not knowing Lucia. She is a power stick of dynamite, I call. I love everything you bring in, the energy. Michael, I look forward to getting to meet you in person someday, hopefully quickly in 2025. All right. Well, let's lean in. Let's have this conversation. I know as we were talking and preparing for this today, I was really enriched with some of the discussion points we're going to get into. So, Michael, I'll turn it quickly to you.
Great. And thank you. So, Lucia, we talked briefly about this, you said in your opening statement, but tell us a little bit about from concept to launch, how this came about. Like I said, it was one of the most successful campaigns I've ever been around. We've exceeded expectations and goals in the first month. But tell us your brainstorm from the beginning of how we got launched in July.
Yes. And thank you, Michael, because you're a huge part of the reason why this program has been so successful. But basically, let's go back to last November, right during our crazy holiday time, as Chad mentioned, peak of Black Friday sales, all this kind of stuff. So as you can imagine, revenue wasn't quite where we wanted it to be. But so we're looking at different solutions, different initiatives. How can we be driving that revenue on LG.com and facilitating a higher conversion rate? But when we peeled back that layer and that onion, it's really about increasing the customer lifetime value. That was really our ultimate goal. So to do that, we really wanted to see how could we create more of a personalized shopping experience on LG.com, because it's not so much about just selling a product. We wanted to be able to sell a lifestyle that supported the customer through their full journey, the end-to-end journey. So basically, when they're purchasing the product, how can we ensure that they have the right installation tools, the right measurements, all this kind of stuff as they're using the product, and then making sure that they have warranty and things like that, where in late ownership, if they have an issue, they're supported. So to do that, we really we looked at some of our other subsidiaries. UK was a big one. Australia was another one. And they started this program with Sprinklr technology called ePromoter. So ePromoter basically it helps us have omni-channel support. So we use ePromoter, we use Sprinklr through our social platforms and reviews and a bunch of public relations, all this different kind of stuff. So we felt that this would be a no-brainer to use Sprinklr technology to help us facilitate this new chat for sales program. So one of the things too, that to increase the customer lifetime value, all that, we not just wanted to have AI routing, but really create a personalized shopping experience. So to do that, we wanted people, especially in this day and age where it's so much AI, so much just, bot, all this kind of stuff. We really wanted to use people and create these personalized connections and really deepen the relationship with our customers. So we decided to, so we had Sprinkler, and then we wanted to create the right people, process, technology, and culture in this program. So we partner with VXI on social and a couple other channels. Like we work together for Rough and Wash, order management, and there's some other pieces. And one of the things that why we've looked to VXI to partner is because you guys not only have the operational expertise, but also the CXA advisory service, where you've helped us create processes like playbooks, quality management, rules of engagement, really hone in that brand voice guidelines, and then things like you, Michael, helping us develop a sales program. So it's really, partnering with you guys has been amazing to help us roll out this full program that has helped us be successful.
So when we talk about success and we think about, the people involved, and, we saw your vision, we put it together, but one of the things was, how do you make sure that during the recruitment process that we reflect on your brand values, we understand and resonate with the target audience? Tell us a little bit about how you came about the profile. And again, part of the success is the profile.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we really, as I mentioned, we partner with VXI in multiple other channels, but all the channels are support roles, right? A customer service where you can really let the customer lead the discussion, active listening, all this kind of stuff. That sales profile that we now needed to look for was completely different. We need a proactive personality, somebody who's confident, somebody who's able to lead and navigate that selling discussion. So, it's definitely a mix of hard and soft skills. So one, as far as the hard skills, somebody obviously good with communication, time management, having confidence, able to build relationships, all that. But the soft skills is definitely somebody who is able to really, well, one, we need them to be really purpose driven, because at LG, our goal is to make life's good, right? So we need, when our agents are having these conversations with customers, we need them to be able to help them see that purchasing a product will help ensure that their life will be good. So creating that type of culture, and also having, again, those communication skills, dedication, and all that to making sure that the program is successful.
I think
Go ahead.
No, I think, and you talked about AI earlier and putting a program together. AI can help with chatbots and do certain things. But a thing I found from this program, it goes back to the fundamentals of selling, whereas people like to buy from people they like and trust. And especially with your brand, when, the average order is well over $1,000, that trust factor that we've immediately put together through the recruiting process and the amount of training they go through by the playbook, I feel consumers feel that trust. They can see it and feel it. It's not a pushy sale, but it's a very consultative sale. And I think what we created here has a lot to do with the success when you put together that profile of not only that they need to be sellers, but they need to be able to communicate about the product and kind of give the consumer the warm and fuzzy feeling of, hey, what you're buying is the best in the business. So I think that had a lot to do with the success too, of, again, going back to the old fundamentals. People like to buy from people they like and trust, and not a chatbot that just recommends the products and waits. So I think that was part of our success too. Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And you're right. Creating that profile that really can connect with the customer. And you're right, people that have a lot of empathy and warmth, and
Yeah.
because we are really looking for that right tone, what that they can communicate to the customer. And as you know, we have daily case handling calls that we review an hour's worth of cases. And that's one of the key quality metrics that we're looking for from these agents, is making sure that their tone is on brand and that they're empathetic and kind and all these different things that really help ladder into our brand voice and our life's good mission statement.
And just what you said there, for the audience may have a takeaway here. We put a lot of time and effort into the profile, the training, all the other factors, but we still do a daily QA call to review chats. Every day of this program, there's a daily stand-up. And the amount of information you learn, not only from the consumers, but your sellers, of how to coach them and train them. And it's not a program where, you do 2 chats per week per agent. You get together once every other week and you review it. This team is going over them every day. And I would employ anyone who ever launches the sales program to follow that methodology, not only from the recruiting process of hiring individuals that represent your brand, but then giving them and putting aside the amount of training and coaching that's needed. Because in a campaign like this, where you're measuring revenue, not just conversions, the difference between driving a couple of $1,000s a day and a couple of hundred is the coaching and training that you get from listening to the insights. So I just want to jump in there because that's what you do every day, and that's part of the success. And what's interesting, go check. Yeah.
I sorry to interrupt, but I just want to, there's a lot of questions that you guys are starting off here coming in and that I'm getting, but from just a clarification, I just want to make sure what is a proactive chat sales program? I know Lisa has asked that. And as we continue this conversation, I want to make sure we all have a good definition with that, Michael. And then let's continue because there's more that I need to get to.
A proactive chat program is when you're proactively seeking to speak to individuals. We're having that conversation. This is not a chatbot driven. It starts out as a chatbot, to be clarified. It starts out as a bot, and an individual gets on and has that proactive chat where we're taking them along through the whole sales cycle. So this is not a bot driven.
Walk me through an example. Take me through an LG example or just any example. I'm a visual kind of guy.
I will pass that to the expert.
Okay. Give us a quick example of a real time, what that looks like.
Sure. So if we go on to LG.com, there is a chat widget on the bottom right-hand side. Basically, it says, click here to speak to an expert to learn more about promotions, key products, all that kind of stuff. You click into that, and then you have the option to pick from, I think, three different pieces, but one is about, are you interested in a new product? So once you click into that, you click into which product you're interested in. And just a little note on that is we didn't always have that feature, but we added it. This way we could have case routing and handling specialization. So we found that it's really important for the agents to be able to really know their key categories and things like that, so they can really get into the weeds with the customer about making sure that they have the right services and all this kind of stuff, and they're giving the customers information so they have their product specialties. Anyway, so they pick which product that they would like to that they're interested in, and then that routes to either an HA, home appliance agent, or HE, home electronic. Now, our agents are located across 3 geos. We have agents in the Philippines, a virtual team, and then Morrow, Atlanta. All 3 geos are cross-trained on all of these product categories, but then they do have their specializations. So once the customer is now looped in, we'll say a refrigerator, we'll say a Morrow agent takes over, and then they're able to get them the right match that fits their lifestyle. And then also too, we have very strong scripts that Michael and team has helped us create that really outline, that basically is a blueprint for the chat flow. Because the plan is to take the same customer through the same journey every time and have the same outcome, lead to a sale. So we're basically profiling the customer, take them through these scripted responses to equal the sale. So that's why also we have these very in-depth case handling calls to make sure that journey is locked in.
Amazing example. We did ask the expert, look at that go. So kudos and gold stars. Thank you. And audience, continue to put, as we go through this conversation, we learn together. So please be putting your questions in there, or you can text me directly. We'll get them answered. Okay, Mike, I'm going to turn it back to you.
No, that's fine. And thanks for interrupting us there, because that's what we want. We want people interrupting us, asking us conversations to drive this in questions with whatever they really want to hear. The one thing I would say that, we talked about earlier, right? One of the other things too that has a lot to do with the preparation that Lucia put together was we didn't launch in one geo, we launched in two at the same time. So when you think about launching programs and launching in two different geos in two different time zones and a virtual program, technically three all at once, really came down to, again, the profile and the recruiting and the training to put together, because speed to market here was very fast. By the time we hired and we were up and running in July, we had to get ready for this season of buying. And so again, when you're thinking about putting a program like this together, really the success of the team is the plan, in having that plan and being able to pivot. And so when you talked about some of the things that we did, think about how quick we pivoted from one to the other, and as we learned, and we built from one team to a separate team. And so I think that's been kind of the strengths from that. When you think about, if you were to look back, if there was one thing that you would change, is there anything that you would change from the last 3 or 4 months?
I think really getting that journey together a lot earlier, because at first, as I mentioned, we really wanted to get that personalized customer interaction. And it was a little bit too loose. So, but with that, there was a lot of learnings. So we created this very specific roadmap for the conversation that really the agent can lead the customer down the one path for a sale. But to your point, Michael, with the two geos, and as you can imagine, every culture has their own strengths, weaknesses, pros, cons, all this kind of stuff. Excuse me. So definitely strengths and weaknesses with both of those geos. So the strength of the Philippines team is they are so kind, they're so warm, they're so empathetic, they're all these things. But a challenge is in a sales program is literally the way that the culture, the bulk of the culture is kind of groomed, is that they're a little bit more geared for the service industry, and they're not really taught to challenge authority and kind of take that leadership mentality. So for them, it was really doing a lot of work and letting them know, like, hey, you guys are leaders here. You guys are the ones that should be guiding this conversation. It's on you to be the expert. And, and having them like really understand the why. And it's, and I think, just a lot of also personal development and growth that we did with that team. And then the US team, they kind of lacked with the product knowledge and things like that. So really making sure that they have the right tools, resources, training guides to be successful when they're recommending these specific products.
So I'm going to jump in, and there's a question that came up. The relationship with the department client is critical. What are some of the best practices you share, advice to build that relationship as a common goal? I'll take the first shot at it and then turn it over to you. But I think one of the reasons why this relationship has been successful is that we have both been brutally honest with each other in our strengths and weaknesses, and identifying the weaknesses immediately, not trying to hide them anywhere, and correcting them. Having an open conversation what success looks like. When you look at, right. And if I move over to our next slide, when you look at what success looks like, and the reason we were able to exceed the expectations here was we knew going into this what the KPIs looked at, looked like. And by the way, they keep moving up. So they're always going higher. But the honesty, integrity of both sides is what makes the relationship and makes client successful launches like this. The second thing is sharing the profile together and figuring out how that's going to be, and not chasing, as they say in sales, butts and seats, but chasing successful sellers. And that's what we did here. We made sure that we had sellers, not agents. So slow and steady wins the prize, not filling up as many people as we can, because then we're only working and trying to get rid of the bottom 20 or the bottom 40 or the bottom 60. Here, it was about how do we find the best sellers, work together, and then the client coming in and making sure that not only were they trained properly, but they were ready to go live. And there's been a lot of times where we didn't keep people live for 3 or 4 or 5 days. We held them back. The client had traffic, but we held them back because we want that customer to have a great experience with a seller. And that's my point of view. Lucia, I don't know if you have any others that make a great client relationship kick off right.
Absolutely. And Michael, you and I have had so many chats about how you're right, how to look at success together and what that means. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for, listening to, a lot of our needs and things like that. And you took a lot of pain points and then you turn them into actionable items to create wins for us. And some of the things that I absolutely appreciate is you creating sales workshops, sales boot camps, for the not only the agents but the supervisors as well, and really understanding what our customer, as you mentioned, the profile, and then how are we driving these different selling techniques into the culture. And I think that's one thing that we've also done together that has made this program really successful, with you and Jonathan on your team, who's been amazing as well. Excuse me. Not just, as you said, not just butts and seats, having sellers, but also creating a sales culture. And that's the biggest thing that we're passionate about. It's, it's not just like, oh, whatever, cool, you made a sale. It's, in Morrow, I know that after every sale that's made, they're ringing a bell. They're cheering people on. They're creating excitement. They're creating value. We have some pretty awesome incentives that we give our sellers across HE and HA. And we're constantly doing prizes and things like that. And not only for sales, but we're also incentivizing for legendary customer experience, because that's something that we're really passionate to. It's not just selling, but how are we really laddering up? And that's our why, right? Helping our customer feel that life's good. So we're making sure that we're, any type of awesome customer experience interaction, we are incentivizing that as well. And then something going forward that we're going to be doing next year. So across my other programs, we do have an biannual nonprofit volunteer day that we're in the local communities. We're getting out of the 4 walls. We're invested in making a difference in the hyper local communities that we serve. So we're going to be doing that in our sales program, this Chat for Sales program too, because culture really is
That's
everything.
Great. It is, but having said all that, it always comes down to the results, the value, the numbers.
Yes.
And going into this, what were some of the KPIs that were really important to you? Talk about those to show what success looked like and what we had to do to get to those numbers.
Sure. So we have primary and secondary KPIs. Primary, as you can imagine, revenue. So we have revenue, conversion rate. So for every chat that's happening, how many are converting to a sale? Conversion rate and average order value, because the higher the average order value, obviously the more revenue. So those are 3 primary. Secondary is our first response time, our CSAT score, agent quality score, total chat handle time. I think those are the big ones.
And you know what's interesting, and what I always love about sales is that you can have, and we talked about this earlier, we can chase conversion, we can chase revenue. You can have a great agent that's converting at 22%, but their average order value is 600. Are they doing a good job? Or you can have an average order value of 2,300 and one that's at 17% not hitting target. What do you focus on, right? Where do you take that from a seller perspective and say, how do they become successful? And I think one of the things that we've been able to do together is look at the data. So the way that we segmented the chats, where you have high value orders and low value orders, right? A refrigerator should have the value of X, TV should have the value of X. And I think part of the success of this program has always been the data, looking at, where the opportunities are and then measuring that and being fluid into, so if you don't hit one conversion, but you hit the other, in the end, it truly matters is revenue. And I think we've been able to demonstrate that that's the key component in this program is average order value. In part of the seller success is they know that too. And having the open scorecard. And one of the things that came up in a conversation the other day is, how do you measure success? It's an open scorecard. It's seeing what every seller has in front of them. Every seller looks at how many chats they had and how many conversions they had and how the average order value. And what you said in the competition in Moro, the wall of fame, the huddles.
Yeah.
I think part of the success of this program is that there's time for sales huddles. There's times for celebration and there's time for selling. And when you put all of those together, you beat the KPIs from the beginning, especially on a slow ramp to proficiency. You make a fast ramp to proficiency. If you put the building blocks that we put in this program in place, you can't really take a shortcut. And so I think part of the success of this program has always been the collaboration and driving revenue. I do see a question in here. So one of the questions is, how do you incentivize your CS and sales agents? Is there a spiff for sales or is it a form of commission? And I'll take this one and try to be as politically correct as possible, but say everybody's got skin in the game. That's the way it works.
That's right.
Everyone gets skin in the game here. And whether you're a seller or a leader, you're part of the success or non-success of selling, which has a lot to do with the success of higher average order value. Thankful Lucia put that program in place, and that's part of the faster ramp to proficiency, knowing that the more you sell, the more you make. Does that make sense?
That's right. And then we also, for every sale that's made, we do incentivize from that. So, it's different for the different geos, but it is a portion of total sales. So yeah, it just encourages the agents to drive that higher revenue rate. We now are starting to incentivize at a higher rate if you sell above $1,300, above our AOV. So there is a little bonus there. But yeah, the agents, it definitely drives and encourages the agents to work hard and to really make sure that we're having those very personalized chat interactions. The one thing that we've had to work very hard on, though, is to not come across too salesy, right? In the beginning, I think that was definitely a key learning of ours is, some of these agents came across very pushy, very salesy, very, just pumping out discounts and promos and things like that. And we've had to really work very hard to just have them just feeling comfortable enough to just keep asking those key qualifying questions. And then they're going to sell it to themselves. What size family do you have? What are your must, like all these kind of things. So just, not being afraid to have these very in-depth conversations.
And that goes back to, the data decisions that you're making, listening to those chats every day and understanding the voice of the consumer, how we can build a script around that and help them. I think part of the success, and again, in this relationship, has been the honest and openness of what works and what doesn't, not being afraid to fail, as they say, forward. And so you try something. If it doesn't work, you
Yeah.
try it. But if it does work, you roll it out to the whole team. Um, and I think there's another part of it, and you feel that when we did our site visit tomorrow, you feel the energy in that place that the people bring. And the
Yes.
thing I love about sales is that when you walk into a floor, it's a sales floor. Like you feel it. Like you feel the competition of the
Right.
person sitting next to the person that says, "I'm winning today." You feel the drive to be number one, and it's just a competition. And creating a sales culture and a sales floor is the key to component. Understanding that, no matter what, you're not going to have 100% conversion rate. So give everything 100%, and also track the revenue, but never quit, never give up, just keep going.
That's
And that
right.
has a lot to do with this program, which I go back to, is that they look at everything every day. And that's one of the measures of success. Question, Chet.
Yeah, first of all, Michael and Lucia, great job on kind of a micro case study. I mean, a lot to unpack here, and I definitely want to get through some of the questions from a community perspective and voice. I know
Sure.
we have a couple of more. Before I go with my questions, I want to quickly make sure I get a few of our audience questions answered here. One of the questions, Lucia, was how do you measure, did you look at whether those buyers would have purchased independently without chat assistance? So interesting question. Was that available for you? So again, how did you measure, did you look at whether those buyers would have purchased independently without chat assistance? Was that something, yes or no, or yes, how?
So let me make sure I understand the question right. So basically it's saying without the
So,
chat assistance. Okay. The one thing that the chat assistance is helping is really tack on different services, different types of bundle deals. Like I can't even tell you the amount of times we upsell sound
mhm.
bars with our OLEDs, or upsell these different package items, pedestal, sidekicks, things like that with our washer and dryer. Um, so it's, having that human touch and human connection definitely helps drive a higher revenue and CRV than just an individual going on to LG.com.
And at a high level, I know without the ton of context with it, but I'm happy to put you in touch with that community member, Lucia. If you and her would like to have a
Sure.
further conversation, just reach out to me and I'll put you guys in touch and you can continue to clarify that. Another question, and again, I haven't gotten to mine yet, but I love the questions. Do you arm your agents with any special tools or offers to help them make conversions?
Oof, yes, we do. We are constantly filling their tool belt with different offers and promos and incentives, all that kind of stuff. Something, I mean, our case handling starts in 20 minutes, which I'm probably sure we're going to have a bunch of feedback on this as well. But, a lot of times the agents are just spitballing these offers out and just like, oh, boom, Black Friday sale. And it's like, wait a second, we're not bots. The reason why we have you all is to be human and have this human approach. So let's get in a conversation. Let's make sure we're talking. And, at that point, I'm not really sure. Oh, for you and you only, 20% off today. So we do have, we
How come
do
I never
have,
get that in life? For you only, we're going to give you the extra. What? Okay. Anyway.
well, come see us on our Better Life Pro platform chat. For you only, we might have a special deal.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And Michael, I want to go back to you. And I guess we've been talking all within a sales conversion case study, and I'll get to that. But is this some of the ingredients, the secret sauce can this be incorporated into traditional care or just general inbound and resolution? I know the measurements are different and stuff. And so my first question is, successful digital programs, are there shortcuts?
I would
Are
tell you
there,
that in any
is there
sales
any shortcuts?
program, in any sales program, there's no shortcuts because people, process, tools, and technology always win. I think the challenge in many of programs is the profile, wherein someone may say, this is going to be part two of the first question you asked me, can this be replicated in a care campaign? The answer is yes. Upselling and cross-selling should be in every opportunity. Every interaction with a consumer these days should have an opportunity for an upsell and a cross-sell if you're in a consumer product business. Why wouldn't you offer that to a customer, whether they're happy or not happy, solve their problem? But like Lucia said, maybe you need a sound bar. Maybe you need something, a battery. Maybe it's time for a new television set. But it comes down to training. And so when you try to take a shortcut, if you take a pure technical support agent and ask them to sell, but don't give them the tools and the technology and the training for it, it's not going to work. And they're going to become disappointed and they're going to lose their self-confidence to try to upsell and cross-sell. So there are no shortcuts. The more time that you can put into training. So Lucia talked about our boot camps. Like, spend the extra time doing boot camps, not only for your sellers, but for leaderships, for the trainers, for the recruiters, finding the right profile. You will find that a commonality of all the best sellers will tell you that they've had great training and they were put into a role to succeed. Hiring someone and putting them in a position to succeed, you'll find success. Hiring someone who doesn't want to sell, cross-sells, and upsell and put them into that role, you're going to have attrition. So no shortcuts.
Michael, you're kind of leading into my second piece, and this was not planned or guarded or anything, and that sounds too
Sure.
salesy, but you've talked about this VXI training simulator. Is this a proprietary, some sort of platform, a process? I know you talked about the importance of the boot camp and other elements of successful training, but is there anything particular about the VXI training simulator that you just want to add into the flavor of this?
Without sounding salesy in doing that, it's the secret of our success of many programs is what we put behind it. And so any tool has to ultimately do with what you put behind it and how you use it. So I would say, yes, it's proprietary. But I'd also say that in this program in particular, there was an enormous amount of individuals who gave their heart and soul. Mm-hmm. So while Lucia thanked me and Jonathan, there's another 25 individuals behind this that I could get a list of names that made this program successful. And the team, along with the tools, is the reason why it's successful. And if we go to the different geos, the different trainers, the different recruiters, that's the reason why it was successful, because we all up front had the ultimate KPIs and goals. We knew conversion and revenue and how the program would be successful. And that team, which is way too many names to talk about, is the reason why it's successful. Like, I'm like this part of it.
Were you feeding the simulator learnings and data points? So you had talked about looking at the data, the high value sellers, and how measuring is very fluid, the open scorecard, and how you measure success. So as you're looking at the future training classes, is this kind of an ongoing feed the beast machine, and then that's helping, or is it a little bit different? Maybe I'm misunderstanding a little bit of that.
Well, the reason why you look at the sales scorecard every day is to make sure that, one, you're hitting the KPIs. Two, are your best sellers selling? Or if they're not, let's get behind the reasons why they're not selling. Secondly, is as you hire new individuals, as that ramp to proficiency. So if I am exceeding the ramp to proficiency, I want to understand where that individual came from. What was their background? Where did they work before us? Did they have a retail environment? Did they do door-to-door selling? Did they do floor selling? Did they do voice selling? Did they do chat selling? Or what does the successful profile look like? Because that's what you're trying to chase. As you use all your tools and your simulations, it'll always come back to the profile. So you need to look at your top 20 percentile and say, why are they succeeding when your bottom 20 isn't? What's the difference? What's the commonality of the profile? What's the commonality of the sales trainer?
Mm.
Did they go to a boot camp? Did they not go to a boot camp? Did we put them on the right product mix? So the data that you look at sets you up for future successes. When we talked about this program, I would always go back to Lucia and say, there's a ramp to proficiency. And they would go, yes, but we need you to ramp
So
faster
many
and
times,
quicker.
Michael.
And I would go, but there is a ramp to proficiency. It may take 45 to 60 days. We need the ramp to proficiency faster. So
Got it.
there's that give and take. And that's why you go back and look at who's succeeding and who's not, and then correct. And you're constantly correcting. You never stop correcting. Those, as soon as you become complacent, you fall back.
And thank you, Michael. And Lucia, I want to ask you a couple things.
There's one thing I wanted to add real quick on the question that you asked for. You brought up really something interesting called marketing attribution, right? Did we succeed in helping someone get a sale or not? And so when you look at our conversion rates and you say, okay, if we're at 22% conversion rate, there's another 78% that didn't buy today. Maybe they bought tomorrow, maybe they bought next week, maybe they went into a store and bought something, right? Attribution is very difficult. But what you do know is that the percentage of people that come to the site buy, and they're buying a high value ticket. So we're helping them. And I think that goes back to the question that you had is, what are they doing in terms of attribution? Are they following the path of the customer of where they come into their web property? So did it come from paid search or SEO or social? Did it come from a radio ad? Did it come from a TV? And understanding that attribution channel will help them look at the true conversion of, did a chat program help or not on their web property?
Thank you for bringing that up. Chair, before I move on, did you want to add anything to what Michael just said or how he answered anything I just previously asked?
No,
All good?
no, I think he
Okay.
covered it. Yeah, thank you.
I want to shift a little bit of gears, and this is really about how you talked about, Lucia, about creating a sales culture and incenting for legendary customer experience. Because this sales chat program started, within 6 months ago? Or
April. Well, I'm sorry. We
or
went live July 24th.
okay.
But we started the build out in April.
So previous to this, and I'm gonna get to a couple questions, but what was that sales culture like? Where was it fragmented, disjointed? Was it a workflow training? I mean, you said, yeah, we had a sales culture, but maybe it wasn't to the degree of what you would say you have a sales culture today. Is there anything you can just notable differences?
I
Did you?
think yeah, go ahead.
I'll let you answer the question. I'm sorry.
I think as I mentioned before, a lot of it, so one, it was not having the agent lead the conversation. I think that was a big piece where they were letting the customers take control of the conversation and just having the customer kind of push around the request and things like that. And really, it was a lot of pressing into the agents that we really express, you guys are the experts of LG products and the brand. We need you to take ownership of this conversation and guide the customer to the best fit for their lifestyle. So really switching their mindset to empower them and make sure that they have that leadership mentality. I think that was one. And then also, as I mentioned too, it's just not being too pushy and not too salesy. It's really helping just agent holding the customer's hand down that journey. We're pulling them, not pushing them to get to the goal of the conversion.
Okay. And I just want to clarify that you had said, I believe, maybe I got this wrong, but pre this, your in-house chat sales was about a 3% conversion, correct? Or
Well, we never actually, this is the first time we ever done a digital sales program
okay.
with LG. So that's been really challenging for us because we don't have past metrics or previous metrics to look at. So a huge learning curve for us right now is just volumes and traffic and really making sure we have that right workforce plan. I mean, that's our biggest pain point right now.
So if that
But the
3%
goal,
today, there's a 3% today, what you're being able to finally get measured, and we're obviously going to see that increase and continue to increase as you get more of the data sets and inputs.
so we did set goals, and that's one of the things with VXI. They do, as I mentioned earlier, they have an amazing CXA team that help us look across industry at different chat for sales programs and create KPI benchmarks. And we did also look at our other subsidiaries to say what else are they doing. So we created goals. So basically, our conversion rate goal was 5%. We also had, AOV goal, first response time, all this kind of stuff. Can I just tell you that since the program inception, our conversion rate goal for HE and HA is close to 14%.
Wow.
We have absolutely crushed conversion and revenue goals, and honestly, we've crushed every single benchmark we've had. So, yeah, the program is really doing quite well. But it's, as Michael said, it has been hard work and it's been dedication and perseverance every single day pressing in.
And Lucia, I really hope, and I know we got to wrap up here shortly, but I really hope with that defined measurement and success, that in financial terms, you can take that financial speak up into the CFO and refund and regenerate continuous, programs or new programs within this, because you have the data now to show it, improve it, and get the speak of wallet share and average order value and all the other things in the conversion. So it would love, Michael, let's bring Lucia back maybe next holiday season to see what kind of lessons we're continuing to learn. I love the boldness, Lucia. I love the vulnerability, the willingness to say, hey, look, there's a different way of doing this, getting creative, getting out of the box. What you and the VXI family have done, I know we just kind of smidged on it today, but I can't wait to see what 2025 is going to continue to show you. So fingers crossed. I got to go online now to buy my LG. I got to go get my LG TV for Christmas. You hear that, everybody?
Well, you know what button to click, Michael.
Click on the chat button. We'll see if we can help you.
Absolutely. Okay, let's wrap up this way. Great case study. I loved it because it had the specifics, it had the richness and ingredients and everything we kind of learned from. And again, I think if we're in non-sales programs, there's still things we can take away from this case study and learn from, and how we can adopt and bring into our, say, non-sales program. If we're in a sales program, there's some great secret sauce here that you're doing and how you're approaching it. Okay, Michael, we're going to give you and Lucia, or I'm going to give you kind of the last word here. Lucia, you've been great. Keep being a rock star, doing everything you're doing at the brand. Okay, Michael, so if we had to quickly summarize today's topic, what is your summary and kind of best advice? Anyone listening, we're going to do everything at Execs to Know to make sure people in our community that have sales programs or other areas they're looking to get creative in, that they hear this webinar and this recording and some of the case study. What is your advice? How do you want to kind of leave the conversation? Is there a best way to start or approach, or just recommendation?
Yeah, I think one of the best ways is, as you're establishing a relationship to launch a new program or improve a new program, is something that people have worked with me for years have heard me say this, that information not shared is worthless information. So share as much data as you can up front and create realistic goals, realistic timelines, a ramp to proficiency, hold everyone accountable to those goals, but also have open and honest conversation and chase greatness. Don't chase filling butts and seats like a care program. Chase greatness with sellers, and spend a lot more time on the profile, in the training, in the coaching, and your program will be successful. You have to have that special DNA to be a seller. Because again, as great as you are, closing at 22%, 78% of the time you're losing. right? You got to have that mindset. You got to have that culture. You got to have the right floor. Got to have the right incentives. There's a lot of right things to do, but they're all achievable. And they're all achievable because you have a sales playbook. You have the right people and process in place to make it successful. There's no shortcuts like you talked about. So I would leave with people, if they want to have a great drive for revenue in 2025, ask yourself these 3 questions. Are the people you're working with today, whether it's internally or externally, helping the marketing department lower their cost per acquisition? Are they driving maximum revenue per interaction and creating a higher lifetime value? Those are the successes of a great program, and they work. So I'll leave it at that. And thanks for having me.
We're gonna drop the mic. We're gonna drop the mic on that answer. Audience, you heard it direct from Michael, a practitioner in success here. So we got to get this in summary and get it out there. So Michael, thank you for those. I agree in those words of wisdom and reminders. All right. Well, I'm just going to close it up. Again, Michael and Lucia, I can say thank you enough. I really was serious about maybe in a year we come back and continue to look at continued case study results where Lucia has been with this, but a fan favorite of you, Lucia. Keep going at what you're doing. Audience, just first of all, from behalf of Execs in the Know, it has been a fast-paced year. We all know it. I think 2025 is going to be no different in fast pace and creativity and everything we have to do to really keep that customer number one. You've just been a great community. Thank you for everything this year. I'm so excited as we look forward and what the new opportunities will mean and bring to us all as a community. You do not need to go at this alone. Join Execs in the Know, the online community, Know It All. You can talk with many, many other brand practitioners and insights, but have a wonderful holiday. You worked very hard this year for it, so well-deserved. Go enjoy. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your listenership. Everyone be well. Okay, this will wrap it up. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Lucia. We appreciate it. Everyone go out and